That is the book of Allah and my sunnah. And the sunnah of Prophet ﷺ, whenever is mentioned, mean he's saying his deed and what is being done or said in front of him, and he accepted it. So, be with the congregation. Luckily, the Prophet ﷺ also said, La tajtami'u ummati ala dalal. My community, they will never get together in what is error. Then whenever the majority of the Muslims, they are doing something, that means it's correct. Because Allah will never allow them to get together to do what Allah doesn't want them to do. And here again, the pillars of Islam, as Abdullah ibn Umar said, he heard the Prophet ﷺ saying, Islam is being built on 5 pillars. Shahadatu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah. All of us, we should say this word to renew our belief. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Those words, whenever you say them, you have renewed your belief. And pray the 5 daily prayers. Pay zakat if you have it. Ramadan is coming. Fast if you don't have any excuse. Go to Mecca to perform Hajj if you have means and ability to go to Mecca. Those are the pillars of Islam. Islam, after all, came to free people, not to enslave anybody. These words, whoever said them, he has said them out of his sound mind. Nobody forced you. Because Islam has spread largely when there is no war at all. The Prophet ﷺ, he spent 13 years in Mecca calling Meccan people to Islam, and few of them they accepted. And the 10 years, and before Hudaybiyah, 7 years, and those 20 years, those who accepted Islam, while in the wartime, the 3 years where no war, they are more than of those who accepted Islam within the period of the war. That will tell you that Islam never spread by the sword. Islam used the sword to defend itself. Up to today, Islam is spreading. These people, these knowledgeable people, these ulama, scholars in Europe and America accepting Islam, who forced them to it? Nobody fight them to accept the Kalimat Shahada. Nobody forced them to accept, to pray. With their own knowledge, with their own mind, they decided to be Muslims. Islam is a religion of freedom, freeing everybody, freeing the slaves to be equal to the masters, and anybody is not better than anyone except with his own actions and deeds and righteous deeds. Allah said it in the book, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Everybody is better. The best one among you at the presence of Allah is those who fear Allah most. He didn't say the richest person. He didn't say the nobles or any one of those titles. But who fear Allah most, he or she is the best one at the presence of Allah. That's why always the advice is that we should fear Allah most and follow the teaching of Allah and the teaching of the Prophet ﷺ. Our happiness in this life and in the hereafter is to follow the steps of the Prophet ﷺ. All gates are closed except the gates through the Prophet ﷺ. If we follow his teaching, if we follow the rules and the regulation he left for us, we will never be led astray after him. And all the Imams, Malik, he said, كل كلام يؤخذ منه ويرد إلا كلام صاحب هذه الحجرة. Every statement we have something to take and some to return, except the statements of the man of this room, referring to the room where the Prophet ﷺ is buried in Medina. And Imam Abu Hanifa also said it. ما جاءنا من الله ورسوله فعلى الرأس والعين وما جاءنا من الصحابة اخترنا وما جاءنا من غيرهم فهم رجال ونحن رجال. Whatever comes from Allah and His Messenger we will carry it upon our heads. 100% we will accept it. Whatever comes from the companions of the Prophet, we have right to choose. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, أَصْحَابِي كَالنُّجُومِ بِأَيِّهِمْ اِقْتَدَيْتُمْ اِهْتَدَيْتُمْ. My companions are like the stars. Whomever you follow among them, you will be guided. And whatever comes from the generation after, we are free. We will verify it. If it is correct, we will take it. If it is not, we will reject it or we will leave it. Once again, we should be in that line, and we should never be away from the Book of Allah. Because in the khutbah we said, وَخَيْرُ الْحَدِيثِ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَخَيْرُ الْهُدَى هُدَى مُحَمَّدٍ. The best guidance is the guidance of the Prophet. And the best conversation is the conversation based on the Book of Allah. And it is big blessing that it is today all over the world we are reading Quran. We have access to get the book. We have access to read it. We have access to the teachers to teach us. Then there is no excuse for a Muslim to ignore this book. The first word in our book is the word read, iqra. And it is obligation upon every Muslim, male or female. And the lifetime is period of studying. From the time you were born to the minute you enter your grave. All that is a period of reading and increasing your knowledge. Then there is no excuse whatsoever for a Muslim to be an ignorant. Before, the Book of Allah, Quran, was not available for many people. In our area, we heard that our great-grandfather, he didn't have Quran. He taught our grandfather all Quran, the half of Quran, in an area where no book of Quran. Out of his memory, what he memorized, he writes for him every day. But there is no Quran. But today, Quran is all over. The Muslims, they have it. Non-Muslims, they have it. Then there is no excuse for a Muslim to ignore this book. This book is a letter from God to every individual person. You will never write your letter to anybody except the person whom you consider that he is to your level to write to him. Among what Allah created, mankind is in the best level. Because he said, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ وَحَمَلْنَاهُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ مِنَ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَفَضَّلْنَاهُمْ عَلَى كَثِيرٍ مِّمَّنْ خَلَقْنَا تَفْضِيلًا. Allah made mankind the best of many of what he created. And he sent this book, Quran, to every individual person. It is a letter. In it, Allah has already stated what he likes and what he does not like. What he likes, if you do it, what will be the reward? And what he doesn't like, if anybody does it, what will be the punishment? That's why it's obligation for a Muslim, every Muslim, to know this book, how to read it, how to recite it, to say your prayer, how to understand the meaning. Because today, if any of you receive a letter from the president of this country, he will never sleep until he read that letter. And he will never have rest in himself until he know the contents of that letter. If he promised him something, he will feel good. If he warned him against something, he will feel bad. And Quran is a letter from the Lord of everybody, of the kings, presidents, chiefs, sheikhs, prophets, everybody. The Lord, he is the one who sent this letter to every individual person. That's why it is our obligation to know what is the contents of this book. If we don't know it, we will not know how to say our prayer. We will not know how to protect our religion, how we understand the meanings of Quran, how that will clarify what is obscure, what is dark in our mind and in our heart. Is only Quran can do that. That's why we should do our best in the Muslim world to teach our children. And it is big reward to know Quran. The Prophet ﷺ said, it's not just what Any word you say of Quran, Allah will give you